Hello, community of peace. Once again, this is Minister Eric Glover coming to you with a message. And before I start, please like and subscribe to our channel. We definitely appreciate that. And tell a friend about us. We know at the community of peace, we love all people. We love all people, all races, all genders. Any orientation, all people are welcome at the community of peace. But if you give me just a moment, I want to make a message specifically to the African American. Specifically to the African American, though everyone here is welcome. You see, among many of us African Americans, there seems to be an uneasiness about us recognizing that we are in fact African. Some of us say that we are original to the United States. Now, while there is significant evidence that some Africans traveled here to the Americas long before slavery ever began, those black people are still African. While it may be true to say that some of us were here before Columbus, we are still, and they would still be, of African descent. Some of us say that none of our ancestors remember seeing slave ships from Africa. You see, beloved, while slavery ended in 1865, the transatlantic slave trade to South Carolina ended in 1808. It is therefore very unlikely that any person would remember new Africans arriving in the United States. Some of us say that my grandparents look more Native American than African. There are so many reasons that people give for not being of African descent. My simple suggestion is to please get a DNA test. Let's end that conversation. My DNA test proved that I am 93% African. The majority of that being Nigerian and Malian. There is no more back and forth. I am African. My identity. I know I have a clear identity. I no longer call myself African American. I am a diaspora African. I am an African person who currently resides outside of Africa. To be clear, I am African. Why is it so important for me to say that I'm African? Some people believe that somehow I'm disavowing my African American culture or history. To these people, I say not so. I can trace my African American ancestry back to my third great grandmother. She lived in Beaufort, South Carolina, and she was on my father's side. The oldest ancestor that I know on my mother's side is my second great grandfather, Scott Lang. Scott's father was a white slaver, whom I have no love for. But his mother was a woman of African descent. I do not know her name. These and others are my American ancestors whom I love. You see, when it is time for me to transition, I pray that they all meet me at the river. I speak this into the universe because somehow I believe my message is being sent to them. When I cross over, I want to see them all. And what a time we will have. My calling myself African in no way means that I'm somehow not Scott Lang's great-great-grandson. You see, I love Scott Lang, and I'm proud of him. Scott Lang went from being a slave to being a landowner in his lifetime. Scott Lang told his children and his grandchildren, and me through them, that we can learn as well or better than the white people. For me to even believe that I could go to a majority university and graduate in engineering, and later passed my PE exam. You see, I had to stand on the shoulders of Scott Lane and my two great-great-great-grandmothers whom I truly don't know. When I say that I am African, I am not disavowing my beautiful Black American ancestors. I love them, I respect them, and I accept them. I am trying to see who their parents and their grandparents are. I truly don't know, but thanks to DNA, I know that they are largely from Mali and Nigeria. Why would I not then embrace my African ancestry? Beloved, I think the main reason why we would not embrace our African ancestry is the fact that many of us were taught to hate Africa. Unless you have been to Africa yourself, the image that you have of Africa was given to you by the same people who enslaved us. They simply will not tell you the truth. 3 quick points about Africa that many of us don't know or didn't know. Turn to your Bibles with me. Genesis 2, verses 10 through 14 describes the location of the Garden of Eden. There is a river boundary around the garden. One of the rivers is called the Gihon, G-I-H-O-N. Now, I cannot specifically prove that the Gihon River is the Nile, but verse 13 says that the Gihon River flowed around the whole land of Cush. Beloved, Cush is Africa. Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, parts of Sudan, Egypt are in Cush. From that line all the way to the Tigris Euphrates, by definition, is the Garden of Eden. Now, if you knew that Africa was in the Garden of Eden, would that change your viewpoint of Africa? One of my favorite people in history is General Hannibal. General Hannibal was a Moor, and he was from Carthage, which today is in North Africa and modern-day Tunisia. He was a very well-educated man. He spoke some 15 languages and a brilliant military man. He invaded and conquered Spain. A black man, a black general, took his army into Spain and conquered the entire country. He then crossed the French Alps in the wintertime to attack Rome from the north. The mighty Romans never saw Hannibal coming. In one battle, he killed 100,000 Roman soldiers. A black African general defeated the Roman military. To this day, Hannibal's military strategies are being taught at West Point. If you knew that, would you still think that Africans were uneducated savages? Third point, quick points. It is a documented fact that our African ancestors were the world leaders in thought. Most of the European philosophers that we are taught to admire, Plato and others, were educated in Africa. Africa had a great university systems in Alexandria, Egypt, and Timbuktu, Mali, and probably many others that I don't know of. Those are just 3 very quick facts about Africa that unless you've done your own research, you may not have known. Okay, Mr. Glover, what is your point? What are you trying to say to us? Beloved, I'm trying to say to you that a tree without its roots will die. It is not healthy for us, Black Americans, to not be connected to our roots. My steps of reconnection is simple. Number 1, if you have any remaining doubt of your origin, go get a DNA test to end all doubt. Number 2, understand that by claiming Africa, you are in no way disavowing your American ancestors. Number 3, reject the negative things that you have been told about Africa. Number 4, do your own research into the history of Africa. Don't forget that since we are still in America, a lot of information will not be available to us. Study and read with a very critical mind. Number 5, try to reconnect with Africa. I cook Nigerian food all the time for my family. I read and study about Africa Hopefully one day you can travel there, as I've already been. A well-planned trip to Africa doesn't cost that much more than a trip to the Caribbean. The last word, beloved. We have been separated from Africa for over 400 years. It is time now for us to go home. If not physically, certainly mentally and spiritually. It is mentally, spiritually, emotionally helpful for us to reconnect with our roots. Healthy trees, beloved, and healthy people stay connected to their roots. This has been a message from the Community of Peace. I'm Minister Eric Glover. I hope that it will help someone along the way. Please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and click the notify button. God bless you.